This is a time for change. This is a time for awakening. This is a time for an unfolding of who you truly are. This is a time to evolve into the being you were meant to be. This is your time. Hello everyone, welcome to Men on Fire. My name is Mike Aren, a former mechanic and engineer turned transformational teacher. And each week I'll deliver an inspiring message to help you excavate those repressed inner negative feelings and install new thoughts that will finally allow you to truly become the person you were born to be. Welcome to another episode of Men on Fire here on Soul Mechanic TV and Soul Mechanic Radio. Today I want to talk about something that is affecting me actually, and probably many of you. And it's basically, I'm spinning my wheels a little bit here and there, and I'm losing confidence. Confidence in myself, confidence in what's happening with the world, confidence in others. And I know, and I have a formula for correcting this, and I'm going to talk about this today because, of course, this episode is entitled How to 10 Times Your Confidence in 10 Seconds. And I've already spoke more than 10 seconds. But I woke up this morning, just didn't feel the greatest. Fine health-wise, but a lot of what's been going on with the second wave of the COVID-19 in many areas of the world, including here where I am in Canada. And it's becoming depressing. So we lived through the spring, we lived through the summer, being pretty much sequestered in our homes, not seeing many of our friends, and hoping, I know I certainly was, that by midsummer or fall this would all be over. But now it's like we got to hunker down for another who knows, 6 months. I don't know, and it's going to be winter. And January, February, there's a lot of those winter blues that set in, and I hope that many people will be able to deal with this. And so I had to apply my own 10-second confidence building rule and put that into effect today to even give me the confidence to record this podcast this morning. That's how bad it was. I even thought about, you know what? I'm not going to do it today. I mean, who's going to miss it? Who's going to miss me? Who's going to miss me when I'm gone? Really, I mean, that's how quickly you can descend into some thoughts of depression. And it's easily done. And I know we've all been there at times. And the trick is not to wallow there and continue to think those thoughts. So let's move on. And I will give you this formula right now in the form of a sentence. And it's probably going to take me less than 10 seconds to speak it to you. So here is how to 10 times your confidence in 10 seconds. Are you ready? Here's the sentence. What if the past does not equal the future? What if the past does not equal the future? And so many times in our lives, we get set in these patterns and we start to predict things that are going to happen to us based on what's happened before. And that is, part of the human experience. We base decisions and things we might want to do in the future based on what we've done in the past and how we've executed things. And that's a big, big part of confidence. And the psychologists like to call it the confidence and competence loop. And when you become confident in something and you try it, and then you overcome it, although you may have had some challenges, you overcome that, and then you gain competence in what that was you just attempted and conquered. And that gives you the confidence then to try something new again. So you see how that the confidence brings competence, which breeds more confidence. But if we never try anything because we're afraid to, because you know what? We're thinking about our past. Well, I did try that a little bit before, or I had 10 friends tell me that don't do that. This is how it works out. It didn't work for me. But you are not them. Now, of course, this can be very useful to us, these patterns of predicting the future based on what happened before, to things that keep us out of danger. That's very useful. Obviously, we learn not to touch a hot stove because of what happened before, right? We burned ourselves. So I said, yeah, not doing that again. So this is how we learn. It can be very, very useful. But when it becomes unconscious and we're not even thinking those thoughts, they're just running in our subconscious mind all the time, it can be extremely detrimental to your confidence. And it makes us want to see just limited possibilities of things. So it starts to limit us, if when we base everything on our past, then we see limited possibilities for our future because we're stuck in our past instead of seeing infinite possibilities in our future, which is what we all should do. Whatever we want to create, we can create. We are some of the greatest creating machines ever derived in the universe. That's who we are. We are part of the universe. We are creators. Hello, creators. You are a creator. So the way things work with this is that you can't make decisions anymore then. And you're sometimes you're too nice. You're afraid of confrontation at work or in relationships. So you back off, or you don't say the right things, or sometimes it's the opposite. You just kind of explode and you're in a bad mood because stop bugging me. And you say things that you don't really want to say or didn't really mean. But the truth is, the past and the future does not exist. The only thing that exists is this present moment, right now, and now, and now. You see how that works? The past doesn't exist because it's happened in the past. It only exists in our minds. It doesn't exist in this physical realm or even in the realm of the absolute. It doesn't exist anywhere. It only exists in our mind. It's like the wake of a boat or a ship that leaves behind you or behind it. So the wake at first leaves quite large little waves or ripples, doesn't it? But then if you were to look at it from the air, I'm sure you've probably seen some of those photos, it fades out. It fades out. And also the waves start to diminish, don't they, in their frequency and also in their magnitude, because it's going further and further away until finally it gives its energy up to the water surrounding it or a shoreline, whatever it happens to be. So it ceases to exist. So it exists in our mind right away when we do something. Yesterday, we remember it because it's very close to us. But it dissipates as we go further and further away. As a matter of fact, they've done studies, and they say within 4 or 5 years, most of us are making up 50% of what we are remembering, because we can't remember it exactly anymore. So we fill in the blanks. Our mind fills in those blanks automatically. Yeah, that's the way it was. Yeah, they wore a red hat that day. They didn't even have a hat on. Those are the types of things that our mind plays tricks on. So the past only exists in our minds. It doesn't exist anywhere. If I tell you to go get a bucket of the past, what are you going to bring me? Memories. That's it, in your mind. And the same goes for the future. It doesn't exist either because it hasn't happened yet. But the best thing about that is that you get to create it. Because what you do right now, this moment, is creating your future. What you're doing today is creating tomorrow. What you did yesterday is created today. And if you get it right down to a prick point or a pencil point, right now, the second, whatever you're doing is creating your tomorrow. So hopefully after watching this podcast, you will see that the past does not exist. Get unstuck out of that past and get going. And the best way to do that is just start moving, right? If you're sitting on the couch and sitting in a lazy boy or not doing anything, much of anything at all, that is detrimental to you creating. Just get up, go for a little walk, have a shower, maybe grab something to eat. Start some movement. Start thinking about what you want to create. That's all is needed to do. So, is it possible to have a future radically different than anything experienced before? Of course it is. Just think of what we're experiencing right now. None of us have experienced this kind of pandemic before, but we are. And we didn't think it was going to happen 7-8 months ago. None of us thought we'd be here where we are, still stuck in this pandemic, in the middle of it, with politicians trading barbs just about each other and, trying to fling some poo on the fan and see if it sticks. It's, you watch some of that stuff and it's just demoralizing in how some humans can actually behave. They're supposed to be responsible human beings. So many of us then say, well, I've been doing this my whole life. It just is what it is. And what a redundant saying is that. It is what it is. Well, of course it is. I laugh all the time. And I've said it too, many times. But I laugh when other people say it because it explains nothing and it's redundant and it makes no sense. But it's something that we fall back on when we don't know what else to say. It is what it is. Anyway, that's often a little bit of a tangent, but of course it's possible to radically change your future. I've done it myself. I was so down and out, I didn't know what to do, where to turn. I thought about, not being here anymore. And I changed it totally around. Not in a day or 10 seconds, that's for darn sure, but I switched everything around. And I had no idea that thinking those thoughts that I was, let's say, 6 to 8 years ago, that I'd be sitting here recording a podcast to thousands and thousands of people in a lakefront home in the back woods of Ontario, Canada. It's such a beautiful place to be, and there's lots of things to do here, of course, because it's fall, and the boat had to come out, the dock's coming out. There's a ton of leaves to rake. If any of you guys like raking leaves, let me know, because we've got a job for you. Anyway, the past does not exist. So we've talked about that. So if the past does not exist, how could it ever create your future? It can't, because it's only in your mind. Unless you focus on it and you make decisions right now based on your past. And like I said, some of those decisions are useful. Many of them are not. And so we just start to blame things that happened to us. My mother dropped me as a child, and then, her mother dropped her, and her mother dropped her, and it just goes on and on. It's ridiculous. We start the blame game and thinking about it's not our fault. It's not our fault at all. It's somebody else's fault. I'm here to tell you, you're 100% responsible for everything that happens to you in the past, in the now, and which is going to create your future. So you're also responsible for what's going to happen in your future. Nobody else is. You are. You are responsible for your past, your present, and your future. No cousin, no aunt, no uncle, no father, no mother, no person at work, no anybody you want to name. There's nothing responsible but you, because you are the creator of your future. So the past can't create our future because it doesn't exist. And of course, we know the future doesn't exist yet, but it will, right? So I have to ask you then, what are you actively doing right in this moment to create your future? What are you doing actively right now that's going to create your future? I know many of you are doing things that are going to help you in your future and going to make a wild difference in your future. And there's many of you also that are just stuck eating chips and ice cream and binging out on Netflix. I mean, that's fine for a day or two, but you got to get out of that. You can't do it every day, right? It's like anything else, moderation. So your future doesn't exist yet, but you have to create it. So that means you need to select a future that you want. You get to select your future. You get to create it. You can do whatever you want. It may not just take a day. It may take months and months of solid work, of constantly waking up saying, what if the past does not equal the future to yourself? And that may be what you need to do. And you get to select a future that excites you and energizes you so much that it makes you want to get out of bed. And select it and start creating right now. So you can 10 times your confidence by saying this one sentence to yourself as many times as you need to during the day. Or first thing in the morning is great, and also before you go to bed. What if the past does not equal the future? Simple sentence. Exponential results. You can do this. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. As always, keep what feels good and dump what doesn't. And remember, live without judgment, give without expectation, and love for no reason. Follow those 3 simple expressions, and you'll be well on your way to an inspirational, intentional, and successful life. Until next time, you're the one. 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 You're the one.